The space between the two ships lit up like a miniature aurora as Raj's magnetic bottle sprang into existence. Through the swirling quantum chaos, Alina watched as the first crystalline beings began their transit. Their bodies caught the light of the binary pulsars, sending rainbow refractions across both ships' hulls. "Shield integrity at 15%, James reported, his voice tight with tension. 90 seconds until complete failure. Alina kept her eyes fixed on the magnetic bridge. "First Navigator, status of your crew's evacuation." 27 of 42 transferred, came the response. "But Captain, our ship's core is approaching critical instability. The quantum fluctuations have initiated a cascade reaction in our drive systems." Raj's voice cut in from the cargo bay. "Captain, they're right. I'm picking up energy readings that make absolutely no sense. If that core goes critical this close to the pulsars..." He didn't need to finish. Everyone knew what would happen. A chain reaction that would make their current situation look like a calm day in orbit. "Time to complete the evacuation," Alina demanded. "At current transfer speed, 2 minutes minimum," James replied. "Shields will be gone in half that time," Raj added. Alina felt time slow as she processed their options. They could abandon the remaining crew and retreat, saving themselves and the aliens they'd already rescued. It would be the logical choice. The safe choice. The choice that any reasonable species would make. But humans had never gotten where they were by being reasonable. "Raj," she called out, "what if we expanded the magnetic bottle? Created a containment field around their entire ship? That would take every scrap of power we have left." He protested. "We'd lose shields completely, right here, right now." But could we do it? There was a pause before Raj responded, and Alina could practically hear him running the calculations. "Maybe, if we route everything, and I mean everything, through the magnetic generators. But Captain, we'd be exposing ourselves to the full force of the pulsars. Our suits can handle 30 seconds of direct exposure," Alina reminded him. "How long would it take to pull their entire ship into our cargo bay if we had a full containment field?" 20 seconds, Raj replied. "But Alina, this is insane. The gravitational forces alone would be partially offset by the quantum fluctuations themselves," James interrupted, catching on to Alina's plan. "If we time it right, we could use the same crystal lattice patterns we mapped earlier." Alina's fingers flew across her console, plotting the trajectory. "First Navigator, prepare your crew for emergency acceleration. We're going to take your entire ship." There was a moment of stunned silence from the alien vessel before the response came. "Captain Santos, such an attempt is beyond reckless. The energy requirements alone are exactly why we're going to succeed," Alina cut in. "Because we're not going to think about whether it's possible. We're just going to do it. Raj, divert all power to the magnetic generators on my mark. James, plot us a quantum corridor for immediate retreat the moment we have them aboard." She took a deep breath, watching the patterns of energy swimming through space around them. This would work. It had to work. Because humans had long ago decided that impossible was just another word for hasn't been done yet. 3, 2, 1, mark. The Hyperion's lights died as every scrap of power flowed into the magnetic generators. The shield shimmer around their hull vanished, leaving them naked to the full fury of the binary pulsars. Alina's suit sensors screamed warnings as radiation levels soared. But between the ships, something beautiful was happening. The magnetic field expanded like a soap bubble, enveloping the astral seeker in a shimmering cocoon of energy. The crystalline ship, already reflecting light in impossible patterns, seemed to dance with new colors as the field took hold. "Field stability at 94%, Raj shouted, beginning retraction sequence. Alina felt the ship groan as the massive alien vessel began to move. Warnings flashed across every remaining display as the Hyperion structure was stressed beyond its design limits. The temperature in the bridge soared as radiation leaked through their unprotected hull. 15 seconds to critical exposure, James warned. Through her viewport, Alina watched as the astral seeker was drawn closer, its crystalline form catching and refracting the pulsar light in ways that human eyes had never witnessed before. The alien ship's own failing core created patterns in the quantum foam around them, turning space itself into an abstract painting of physics gone mad. 10 seconds. The cargo bay doors yawned open, looking impossibly small compared to their target. The command center erupted into controlled chaos as her crew sprang into action. Outside the station's reinforced windows, the distant light of the Carina Nebula seemed to pulse brighter, as if challenging them to attempt the impossible. Elena Santos had built her career on doing exactly that. As she watched her team prepare for what might be their most daring rescue yet, she couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. This was why humanity had reached for the stars, not just to explore, but to help, to prove that the impossible was just another problem waiting to be solved. The clock was ticking. In the depths of one of space's deadliest regions, 42 alien lives hung in the balance, and humanity's first impression on the galactic stage would be written not in diplomatic meetings or trade agreements, but in an act of courage that defied both death and reason. The Hyperion's cargo bay buzzed with activity as Raj's engineering team swarmed over the experimental shield generators. Sparks cascaded from welding units as they integrated Dr. Yoshida's metamaterial plates into the ship's hull. The modified materials, inspired by the crystalline structures found in Earth's deepest caves, might just give them a fighting chance against the pulsar's devastating radiation. Time check. Elena called out, examining the latest simulation results on her tablet. 4 hours, 17 minutes until estimated shield failure on the Astral Seeker. James responded from his station. We've received 3 more data packets from them. Their captain, something translated as First Navigator Crystalline Song, is fascinated by us. Elena raised an eyebrow. Fascinated. They're trapped in a death spiral between 2 pulsars. And they're fascinated. They're scientists through and through, James explained, scrolling through the translated messages. They can't believe we're actually attempting a rescue. Apparently, they sent out the distress call as a formality, expecting to document their final moments for their species archives. The idea that someone would actually try to save them, it's beyond their comprehension. Well, Raj grunted, emerging from beneath a tangle of power conduits, his dark skin glistening with sweat. They're about to get a crash course in human stubbornness. The shield modifications are at 89% completion. But Elena, you need to see this. He projected a holographic diagram of the Hyperion's modified systems. We've managed to tune the shields to match the pulsar frequencies, but there's a catch. The metamaterial can only maintain its protective properties for 20 minutes at maximum exposure. After that, the crystalline structure will begin to degrade. 20 minutes, Elena mused, running the numbers in her head. That's cutting it close, but it might be enough. Aurora, update our approach vectors based on the new time constraint. The AI's holographic avatar shimmered into existence, its form a swirling pattern of blue light. Captain, I've analyzed 73 possible approach vectors. All but one result in ship destruction before reaching the Astral Seeker. Show me the one, Elena commanded. The holographic display expanded, showing a complex trajectory that seemed to dance between the pulsar's gravitational fields. James whistled low. That's insane. You want to use the gravitational waves like a slingshot. The timing would have to be perfect. Not just perfect, Raj added, studying the trajectory. We're talking microsecond precision. One slight miscalculation, and we'll either be crushed into a singularity or torn apart by tidal forces. Elena's eyes never left the display. Aurora, what's the probability of successfully executing this maneuver? Under normal parameters, 0.47%. However, the AI paused, its avatar flickering. If we integrate my processing core directly with the ship's navigation systems and allow for real-time quantum adjustments, probability increases to 7.83%. You want to merge with the ship? James asked, incredulous. That's never been tested outside of simulations. The power requirements alone. We'll route power from non-essential systems, Elena decided. Life support, artificial gravity, everything except shields and engines. We can survive in suits for the duration of the mission. A new alert chimed through the bay. James checked his console, his expression grim. Captain, we're receiving a priority transmission from Coalition Command. Admiral Chen is online. Elena sighed. She'd been expecting this. The holographic display shifted, revealing the stern face of Admiral Sarah Chen, her silver hair pulled back in a severe bun. Captain Santos, explain to me why I'm receiving reports about an unauthorized rescue mission to the Carina Nebula. Because we're the only ones who can pull it off, Elena replied simply. You've seen the data on the Astral Seeker. This isn't just about saving lives anymore. This is humanity's chance to prove ourselves to an advanced alien species. By getting yourselves killed. The Admiral's voice was sharp. The Coalition cannot sanction a suicide mission, especially not one involving first contact. Stand down, Captain. That's an order. Elena straightened, meeting the Admiral's gaze. With respect, ma'am, we both know that's not going to happen. The Hyperion is classified as an experimental vessel, which means under Section 47 of the Deep Space Rescue Charter, I have operational autonomy in emergency situations. Elena. The Admiral's tone softened slightly. I understand what you're trying to do. But the risks are exactly why we need to do this. Elena interrupted. Humanity didn't get to the stars by playing it safe. Every major breakthrough in our history came from someone looking at the impossible and saying, why not? Besides, she allowed herself a small smile. When have I ever let you down? Admiral Chen was silent for a long moment. Finally, she shook her head. You have 2 hours before I'm forced to log this officially. Whatever you're going to do it fast. The transmission cut out. Elena turned to her crew, who had paused their work to watch the exchange. You heard the Admiral. Clock's ticking. Raj, how long until the shield modifications are complete? 20 minutes, maybe less. But Elena. He hesitated. Everyone here needs to understand. This really might be a one-way trip. I know, she replied softly. Then, raising her voice, this mission is voluntary. Anyone who wants to stay behind, now's your chance. No repercussions, no questions asked. The cargo bay fell silent. Not a single person moved. Elena felt her throat tighten with pride. Right then, James, start the pre-launch sequence. Raj, finish those modifications. Aurora, begin integration with the ship's systems. She looked up at the distant ceiling of the station, somewhere beyond which lay their impossible destination. Let's go make history. As her crew scrambled to their stations, Elena pulled up the latest image of the Astral Seeker on her tablet. The alien ship hung suspended between the binary pulsars, its crystalline hull refracting the deadly radiation in beautiful, haunting patterns. They had one shot at this. One chance to prove that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their intelligence, but their absolute refusal to abandon those in need. The countdown to launch had begun. The Hyperion burst from its final FTL jump directly into hell. Twin pulsars dominated the view, their deadly dance sending waves of gravitational force and radiation across space. Between them, barely visible against the maelstrom of energy, hung the crystalline form of the Astral Seeker. Elena felt the ship shudder as the first gravitational wave hit them. Even through her pressure suit, she could sense the immense forces trying to tear the Hyperion apart. Status report. Shield harmonics holding at 94%. Raj called from engineering. Metamaterial integration is stable, but we're already seeing microfractures in the outer layer. Aurora, begin gravitational mapping. Elena commanded. The AI's consciousness, now fully integrated with the ship's systems, responded by filling the bridge with a three-dimensional display of the surrounding space. Gravitational forces appeared as swirling currents, while radiation bloomed in deadly flowers of red and purple. Gravitational mapping complete, Aurora announced, her voice now coming from every speaker on the ship. Beginning approach vector calculations. Warning. Detected anomaly in pulsar rotation patterns. Standard predictions may be unreliable. Elena's hands tightened on her command chair. What kind of anomaly? The pulsar's magnetic fields are interacting in unexpected ways, James explained, his fingers flying across his console. They're creating quantum fluctuations that… Wait. He looked up, eyes wide behind his helmet visor. Captain, I think I know why the Astral Seeker came here. These aren't normal pulsars. Explain. The quantum signatures, they're unlike anything we've ever seen. If I'm reading this right, the Astral Seeker wasn't just doing routine science. They found something that could revolutionize our understanding of quantum mechanics. And it nearly got them killed, Elena muttered. Aurora, can you compensate for the quantum fluctuations? Affirmative, but it will require 47% more processing power than originally calculated. Diverting resources from secondary systems. The lights throughout the ship dimmed as Aurora redirected power. The temperature began to drop as life support systems scaled back to minimum levels. Elena could see her breath fogging her visor. Initial approach vector plotted. Aurora announced, Caution. We will have one opportunity to execute the gravitational slingshot maneuver. Timing must be accurate to within 0.003 seconds. What happens if we miss? Raj asked over the comm. Then we join the Astral Seeker in their predicament, but without their natural radiation resistance, Aurora replied matter-of-factly. Death would occur within approximately 47 seconds. Elena took a deep breath. Good thing we're not going to miss then. All hands, secure for high-G maneuvers. James, open a channel to the Astral Seeker. The comm system crackled with interference before resolving into a series of crystalline tones that the translator converted to English. Human vessel, this is First Navigator Crystalline Song. Your approach is unprecedented. Our simulations suggest your survival probability is negligible. Good thing we don't put much stock in probabilities, Elena replied. We're initiating rescue operations. Prepare your crew for emergency transfer. We'll only have a few minutes once we reach you. There was a pause before the alien responded. You truly intend to attempt this, even knowing the risks. That's what humans do, Elena said simply. We help people in need. Aurora, begin approach sequence. The Hyperion's engines roared to life, pushing them into the gravitational maelstrom. Elena felt the G-forces increase despite her suit's compensation systems. The view outside became a twisted nightmare as space itself seemed to bend around them. First gravitational wave approaching, Aurora warned. Impact in 5, 4, 3. The ship plunged into the wave. Elena's vision blurred as the artificial gravity struggled to compensate. Warning alarms blared as the hull creaked under forces it was never designed to withstand. Shield integrity at 82% and falling, Raj reported, his voice strained. The metamaterial is holding, but we're burning through our window faster than expected. Aurora, time to intercept. 14 minutes, 17 seconds at current velocity. Warning, detecting increased quantum fluctuations in our path. Through the distorted space ahead, Elena could see the Astral Seeker more clearly now. The alien ship was beautiful, its crystalline hull refracting the pulsar's light in impossible patterns. But she could also see the cracks spreading through its structure, the signs of imminent failure. James, get me a detailed scan of their hull. I want to know exactly where we can establish a secure docking connection. She switched to the ship-wide channel. Listen up, everyone. We're about to attempt something that's never been done before. We're going to rescue a crew of crystalline aliens from a quantum anomaly while surfing gravitational waves between binary pulsars, and we're going to do it in less than 20 minutes. She could hear the pride in her crew's responses, the determination that made humanity different from every other species they'd encountered. Where others saw impossible odds, they saw challenges to overcome. Beginning final approach calculations, Aurora announced. "Captain, I should inform you that I've detected a pattern in the quantum fluctuations. They're not random. They're—" The AI's voice cut off as a massive wave of energy washed over the ship. Emergency alerts screamed across every console as the Hyperion was caught in a quantum surge that no one, human or AI, could have predicted. The rescue mission had just become even more impossible. For the crew of the Hyperion, that just meant it was another day at the office. The quantum surge tore through the Hyperion systems like a digital hurricane. Displays flickered and died as circuits overloaded. Elena watched in horror as Aurora's holographic presence stuttered and vanished. "We've lost the AI integration," James shouted over the cacophony of alarms. "Navigation systems are reverting to manual control." "Raj, status of the shields." Elena fought to keep her voice steady as the ship bucked beneath them. "Critical." His voice crackled with interference. "The metamaterial is degrading faster than predicted. We got maybe 8 minutes before total failure, not the 20 we planned for." Elena's mind raced. Without Aurora's quantum speed calculations, their carefully planned rescue trajectory was now impossible. But they were too far in to turn back. The same forces that were trying to tear them apart would destroy them instantly if they tried to retreat. "First Navigator." Elena called over the comm link to the Astral Seeker. "We're experiencing system failures. What can you tell me about these quantum fluctuations?" "They are fascinating," the crystalline being responded, their translated voice carrying an odd tone of scientific excitement despite their dire situation. "We theorize they are echoes of the universe's quantum foundations, amplified by the pulsar's interaction. Our research suggests." With respect, Elena interrupted, "I need practical data, not theories. How are they moving? What's the pattern?" There was a pause before First Navigator Crystalline Song responded. "We have mapped their movements over the past 32 hours. They follow paths similar to the standing waves in crystalline structures. If you can access our sensor logs, James, get those logs. Cross-reference them with everything we know about crystal formation from Earth's geological database." Her science officer's fingers flew across his backup console. "Got it, Captain, they're right. The quantum fluctuations are moving like electron patterns in a crystal lattice. If we treat space itself as a crystalline structure, we can plot a course through the gaps." Elena finished, "Just like finding the cleavage planes in a diamond. Raj, can you redirect power from the shields to the engines? We need more maneuverability." "You want me to weaken our shields?" "No." Raj's disbelief was clear even through the static. "We're dead if we stick to the original plan. But if we can move fast enough, hit the right points." Elena grabbed her manual controls. Sometimes the best defense is not getting hit at all. The ship shuddered as Raj rerouted power. Elena's hands tightened on the controls as she studied the overlapping patterns on her remaining displays. Years of experience piloting rescue missions through asteroid fields, solar storms, and collapsing wormholes had honed her instincts. Now she needed to trust them more than ever. "Everyone secure yourselves," she ordered. "This is going to get rough." The Hyperion dove through space that was more like a liquid crystal than vacuum. Elena guided them through the quantum fluctuations as if threading a needle, using the patterns James was frantically mapping to find safe passages that existed for mere seconds. 5 minutes to shield failure, Raj reported. "The hull temperature is approaching critical levels." "First Navigator," Elena called out, "prepare your crew for immediate evacuation. We'll only have one chance at this. How quickly can your people move through our atmosphere?" "Our crystalline forms are not well suited for rapid movement in your gravity," came the response. "The transfer will take at least 4 minutes. Elena bit back a curse. They didn't have 4 minutes. Unless... Raj, what if we dropped our artificial gravity completely? Would that buy us more time on the shields? Maybe an extra minute. But Captain, in these conditions, with these forces..." "Do it," Elena commanded. "And get to the cargo bay. I need you to rig something that can handle crystalline beings at their natural movement speed. Some kind of magnetic guidance system. Already on it, Raj replied, and Elena could hear the smile in his voice. This was what humans did best, improvising solutions that seemed impossible right up until they worked. The artificial gravity disappeared, leaving them floating in their seats as the ship continued its dance through the quantum storm. Through the forward viewport, Elena could see they were almost within docking range of the Astral Seeker. The alien ship's crystalline hull was now visibly cracking, sheets of translucent material peeling away into space. James, get me a docking solution that won't shear either ship apart. Working on it, he replied, sweat beading on his forehead inside his helmet. The problem is their hull composition. Normal docking clamps would shatter it like glass. Then we don't use clamps, Elena decided. Raj, you've got about 30 seconds to tell me you've figured out something brilliant down there. How about a magnetic bottle? Raj's voice was strained as he worked. We can create a containment field between the ships, use it as a bridge. Their crystalline structure should respond to the magnetic resonance if we tune it right. A massive quantum surge chose that moment to blast between the ships, making both vessels shudder. Warning lights that Elena didn't even know existed began flashing across her console. Shield failure in 2 minutes, James announced. Captain, we need to dock now, or we'll lose both ships. Elena took a deep breath. Everything had come down to this moment. All their planning, all their improvisation, all their desperate gambles. She looked at the impossibly beautiful disaster unfolding around them, and made her decision. First Navigator, she called out, we're about to try something that's either brilliant or suicidal. Probably both. Tell your crew to prepare for magnetic guidance, and trust us. The response came back clearer than ever. After witnessing your actions thus far, Captain, I believe we have no choice but to trust in human ingenuity. We are ready. Elena allowed herself a small smile. All right, people. Let's show the galaxy how humanity handles impossible situations. Begin docking sequence. But Raj's calculations proved perfect. The magnetic field compressed and guided the alien vessel like a hand placing a jewel in a setting. 5 seconds. Cargo bay doors closing. Raj announced. We've got them. James, get us out of here. The Hyperion's engines screamed as they poured their remaining power into escape. Elena's vision blurred as acceleration coupled with radiation exposure began to affect her consciousness. The last thing she saw before blackness took her was the quantum corridor opening ahead of them, offering escape from the impossible space they'd conquered. 3 days later, Elena stood in the Hyperion's medbay, watching through an observation window as First Navigator Crystalline Song communicated with Coalition scientists. The alien's crystalline form caught the light from the medical sensors, sending fragments of rainbow across the walls. The data we collected, the First Navigator was saying, will revolutionize our understanding of quantum mechanics. But more importantly, we have witnessed something that will change our galaxy forever. The quantum fluctuation patterns, one of the scientists asked. No, Crystalline Song replied. We have witnessed humanity. In all our studies of space-faring races, we had categorized species by their technological achievements, their scientific understanding, their evolutionary advantages. But humans, the aliens' form shifted, creating patterns that the translator identified as expressing deep respect. Humans showed us that the greatest force in the universe isn't technology or evolution or even physics. It's the sheer, unstoppable determination to help others, regardless of the cost. Elena smiled as she read the latest report from Coalition Command. The Hyperion's mission had done more than save 42 alien lives. It had established humanity's reputation throughout the galaxy. Not as the strongest, or the smartest, or the most advanced, but as the species that would dare the impossible to help others. More requests for human assistance were already coming in from across the galaxy. Situations deemed too dangerous or impossible by other races were being brought to Earth's attention. Some called them crazy. Others called them reckless. But out there in the void, where the laws of physics were more like guidelines and danger lurked in every corner of space, a new name was spreading among the stars. The Deathworld warriors, who made the impossible possible. Elena looked down at the new mission briefing in her hands and grinned. Somewhere out there, another impossible situation was waiting, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy, once again, what they could do. After all, impossible was just their specialty.